the Sweaty and the Farmer and the Game Design. We give you the most relaxing space cultivated guava to make your life better. You are very much welcome. Enjoy the ride through the Milky Way. This is episode number 48, Wholesome's Shadowlands. I am the learning gamer as the Sweaty.
And I am Lucho the Farmer. Thanks for joining us on this episode. This week we jump face first to embrace the corruption of our Lord, Aaron Jesus.
Please light a candle to Aaron Jesus. Of course, that candle will have a chance to not light up, but still.
Great to Aaron Jesus for those rewards.
Yeah. So, first our disclaimer as usual. Remember that all the discussions and everything that we say here is tainted by our eyes or experience or humanity or way of living or gaminess, our everything. So we might say things wrong or get bad facts or say things that you don't agree with. So that's what the comment section or the mail or the Twitter is for, if you disagree with us. So, but we still will love you for listening to us. Anyways, on the docket we have Shadowlands, End of Dungeon Wars. Is it good? Is it bad? Do you like it? Do you not? Who knows? A wholesome story of a death-free guild in World of Warcraft. How wholesome is that? And did corruption succeed in the last patch of BFA? Big questions here.
All the big questions, my friend, are we asking today?
So let's get right into it. Changes in the itemization, item level, item stuff, and gearing in the Mythic, especially the Mythic Plus, change it, plus combined with the chest system that is gonna bring in Shadowlands, and how the Mythic is gonna work, the Mythic rating and the Heroic rating, how long it's gonna take you to gear up, how is the gear. All this is still a little bit uncertain because we haven't seen the whole system, right?
It is uncertain for sure.
Yeah.
And it is especially uncertain because as we have said many times before, a lot of the success of a lot of these things doesn't come from hard numbers.
Yes.
But how it feels for players.
Correct.
On the weekly to weekly game loop.
Yes.
It doesn't matter that the numbers are the right numbers. Sadly, this is more about like human behavior and how does it feel to something. It's sometimes more important than the hard facts.
Yes, of course, there is a small base of players who will not care and just sim everything. But still, the big percentage of WoW players is how it feels to play the game.
Yeah, it is just... It's not that the facts don't matter, it's just that there is a funny thing with random.
Yeah.
And it is that it's perceived different by each person, and it feels different to each person.
Correct.
So it doesn't matter if at the end of the day the numbers are kind of, you're gearing up faster.
Yeah, for example, I hate Lucho because he's super lucky with everything, with every random decision he takes. In every single RPG, his track record is untainted. He goes into an RPG and he says, "Oh, I like this," and ends up being like the craziest meta thing. He's been super effective. He's like, "I didn't think about it. I did like it, and and that was it." And in the back, my God, why? I am the one who's trying to like attend to the meta and try to be super optimized, and always ends up suffering because I experiment with things to see if that works or not. And anyways, I just hate him that he's so lucky with it.
I'm just lucky with those things.
Yeah, it's funny. Anyways, let's get the first thing about this thing out of the way. Is it Mythic Plus dead?
No, it's not.
There we go.
I mean, of course it is not because a lot of people run Mythic Plus because they like it and they like just pushing keys, and we see that in the fact that people just push like plus 30 something keys these days. And at that point, you're not doing it for the reward. You're doing it because you can do it.
Yeah, correct. For the actual
for pushing, the challenge.
The challenge of pushing. Yeah.
Which is an interesting thing because it is one of those things that it's hard to attain in all of these role-playing games. That is that get people to stuff not because of the rewards that are behind it, but just because you like it.
Yeah.
Which is what Mythic Plus somehow has attained, at least with a portion of the community. And you see all these streamers pushing crazy amounts of levels of keys, just for the fun of it, which is really fun. But more than that, okay, so I guess the best way to make sense of these changes is to compare. We need a reference level to talk about this change.
All right, let's go ahead and say what exactly change it is to the people who doesn't have much context of it. Basically, what they're doing is they're removing, when you are right now in BFA, when you go into a dungeon, you get a chance of 3 pieces of loot at the end of the dungeon generally.
Yeah.
Right? They're removing that, and in the end of the dungeon, you will get a chance of 1 piece of loot per run.
Baseline. You could get more.
Yeah. But baseline, you will get 1. So the quantity of loot is being
decreased.
That's the first change they're doing to it. And this is very interesting to me because definitely they took the route that I thought they were gonna take when we were talking about itemization in World of Warcraft when we started playing BFA. When I was saying to you, look, it looks like a lot of the gear in World of Warcraft is random, then they should increase the quantity of gear that you are getting in all the activities to compensate, right? And I remember that I told you the 2 avenues. Either you give you high randomization and high quantity of gear, like the itemization in The Division 2, or in Destiny 2, or in Diablo 3, when they give you a lot of drops random and you go through a lot of loot random, and that's the way for you to itemize. Or they're going the other route where you get very good rewards, but the loot is super good every time you get a reward, or is useful in some shape, way, or form every time you get a reward, and that's the way of excitement. So it's scarcity with high quality, or a lot of the loot with random chances and low quality loot.
Yeah, I mean they're definitely moving from one end to the other, because BFA, it's definitely more of, they give you a lot of loot, but there is a lot of randomness to it.
Yeah.
And they're definitely moving to, the game is gonna have way less loot, but in principle, with the whole changes to a vault, is gonna be better loot.
Yeah. So that's one change that they're going. That's one change that definitely is gonna happen, and I think it's better for how the game is built. Now that that's been spending a lot more time playing and understanding the underlying systems of World of Warcraft, I think this serves a lot better the game for what it wants to do, especially when you start thinking about how I forget the word, how professions apply and how they're used in World of Warcraft, right? And how to keep them relevant.
There is no, in my head, there is no right answer for this.
Yeah, But I think it's better. I think this approach is better for the game overall. It's more healthy than throw a lot of loot, because professions change what they're useful for. Like one of the changes that I'm really glad about Shadowlands is that the scarcity of gear will make professions a little bit more relevant, at least at the beginning of the cycles of content.
We don't know that. I mean, that's
it looks
probably
like
not going to happen.
Especially with the forging of the legendaries and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, okay, but professions are not going to be relevant for the gear, but more for the legendary crafting things.
But that's part of the gear kind of system. You know what I mean?
It is, but it's not. Yeah, but it's not a gearing up problem.
Yeah.
Like at the beginning of the expansion, professions are relevant. If they're relevant, they're not going to be relevant because of that.
Fair enough. Anyways, but you know what I mean. You know what I'm trying to get at. Like,
I know what you mean, but I disagree with your stand on professions.
All right.
Like the gear from profession is probably still not going to be
super useful.
Yeah.
All right.
What's going to be probably useful from professions are all the things that you can craft that you use to infuse the legendaries and things, because what it seems is that the legendary itself is going to take pieces from different crafting professions. Correct. And
to make
so that's gonna keep the profession relevant while people are collecting and all your and leveling up all your or your legendaries.
Yes.
But the gear itself probably is not gonna be super meaningful, really.
Fair enough. So they are moving away from a lot of gear, so we're expecting to have more quality gear. This comes accompanied. There's two questions still about this, and I don't know if there is in any of these reports. Is one, do you still have the reroll chance for the rating?
Okay, but the one piece of loot thing is not important news.
Yes, correct. The important news are the item level squishies.
I don't know what you're wondering about.
I'm trying to get to it. But it just occurred to me. Sorry, I just went into a tangent and occurred to me like, oh, is that system still gonna be? Anyways, so the level squish. The end of the dungeon item level is gonna be around 10 levels, around 10 levels, 16 levels, 13, around 16, between 16 and 13 levels for what you get into your weekly vault.
That's always been the case. That doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It is on your weekly vault you'll get
yes.
16 levels more. That's fine. That's always been the case.
Yeah. And the other thing is you cannot gear with only end of dungeon mythic plus items anymore.
You can. It's not. I mean, you can do whatever you want. That's not the point.
So what is the point for you?
The point is that to make these relevant, we should this only makes sense in conjunction with the right item level thing.
The raid item level thing. Yeah.
So the rate is gonna on heroic is gonna drop for the first 8 bosses.
Yeah.
It's gonna drop 213 item level items.
For heroic, yes, 213.
For heroic.
Yep.
Normal is gonna be 200. Mythic is gonna be 226, but heroic is 213, and this is where the whole contention comes.
Yeah.
So let's keep that number in mind. End of dungeon rewards from the highest possible
key
reward, reward that you can get at the end of the dungeon is going to be 210.
Yeah.
Which means that it's 3 item levels below heroic rating.
Correct.
That's the contention point for a lot of people.
That you cannot get heroic rating level in the dungeons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how it works right now in BFA is that you actually get better.
Correct.
So heroic rating is 460. Mm-hmm. And of a plus 15 dungeon is 465.
Yeah.
So end of the dungeon, like the whole contention comes out end of the dungeon rewards.
Yep.
End of the dungeon rewards are by all means worse than heroic rating.
Yes.
Which
how much is gonna, like, that's my next question, like how much is gonna matter that those 3 item level downgrade?
It depends. It's gonna matter more or less at different points in the expansion.
Yeah, that was my question, because 3 item levels doesn't sound that bad.
No, but for example, when your guild is doing heroic progression, you're not gonna be able to share loot, because everything that drops for you, it's probably gonna be an item level upgrade.
Yes,
and it's gonna be locked to you.
Of course, at the beginning of the cycle, nobody's gonna be able to share anything when you're doing heroic progression.
But that's not a thing. That was not a thing for BFA.
Correct.
Because you could just get, not best in slot, but just get for 65 gear, go into heroic, get and now look for the pieces of gear that are actually heroic best in slot for the classes that you're playing.
Yeah. So the feeling here is that it feels like they're throttling progression. Kind of slowing down progression. What they say is not
personal progression. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
Because you as a singular player,
you will still gonna get loot progression. You're still gonna get your reward. Yeah.
But more than that, it is just that like a lot of the or one of the big arguments from a lot of people is that it feels bad that one of the hardest contents that you can do in the game, which are Mythic 15 and plus, is not rewarding you when you finish it, which is important. When you finish the content, is not rewarding you as even heroic rating. The game is telling you this gameplay that the community perceives as like one of the core gameplays of the game. Is not as important as heroic rating.
And now what the developers had in mind is the compensation for this is the weekly vault.
Sure.
Right? But again, with that intention in mind, it feels like they're slowing down a little bit of progression. In the sense that if you only run Mythic Plus to get to a heroic rate level of items, you will have to rely on that weekly vault drop, which gives you more, which gives you 16 item level if you're running Mythic 14 or 15.
But it's gonna take a lot of more. Take longer for you to catch up.
That's what I'm saying. Like they're compensating that progress, but with a slower system. And by discussions that I've seen around the community, they say that the intention is that to stop the practice of these guilds of just go and farm Mythic Plus just to get.
Not even talk about that.
Yeah. All right.
I don't even care about what they do with that.
Fair enough.
Because it's not like this is for me not a discussion of the hang the players are gonna do whatever they need to.
Yeah. But then the question at the end of the day is this fair? Is this gonna ruin Mythic Plus? Is it worth it to run Mythic Plus? In the fact of you thinking about pushing it?
That's not the point. Like, is it worth it? Yes, of course, because you still want to get the
weekly
Great Wall reward.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah,
that has nothing to do with.
People are gonna run. How many dungeons do you need for the full 3 slots? 10 dungeons. Yeah.
I mean, people are probably still gonna run Mythic Plus no matter what.
Yeah.
But it's just that it's like for example, right now when I run 15 keys or something like that, the loot for me right now is useless.
Yeah.
It's all trash.
All right.
But it makes sense now because we're at the end of the expansion.
Yeah.
So kind of no loot really matters to me.
Yeah, we both in our main characters have the majority of best in slot.
Even if we did not, it is the end of the expansion. We're weeks away from pre-patch.
Yeah, exactly. We were joking yesterday because we were doing on Thursday because we were doing the the raid, because we still raid even at the end of the patch because we enjoy raiding, as we said before. And finally a helmet dropped from Nassau, and it was the last piece of quote-unquote best in slot from the raid that I needed. I'll tell you, Lucho, finally I'm done with BFA. I'm done with 8.3 in heroic progression. I got my last best in slot item. And he said, it just only took you a couple of weeks. When in reality it took me months to get the last piece of best in slot in the raid. Which is fine, I guess. In terms of progression. But
I think it's perfect fine.
Yeah. Then my question to you is, do you have a problem with this change?
I do have a problem.
What is, point me your problem with this change?
The problem is that it's gonna feel basically it's gonna feel bad that for most of the expansion, the end of dungeon reward is gonna be meaning.
Yes.
That feels bad because, and then this comes to that basic feeling of, okay, we're gonna put time into an activity. We're gonna throw half an hour into this key dungeon.
Yeah.
This plus 15.
Yeah.
And you go, you try your hardest, it is challenging content. You complete it successfully, and then you get one piece of gear that it's completely trash.
Yeah.
And that's gonna feel bad. Especially what? At the beginning of the expansion.
Then my question is, do you think that is gonna feel super bad at the beginning of the expansion? How far do you think you're gonna get? Because
how far into expansion that feeling?
No. How far into progression of mythic levels you're gonna get at the beginning of the expansion, right? If you do mythic 5, that at least is gonna give you some legs to get into normal rating, right?
Sure.
And then at the end of the week, before even the raid, you will have at least 2 pieces of loot ready for above normal rating at the end of the week. At the end of the 2 weeks before the raid opens. Even if you're planning to get in the first weeks to go raiding.
Sure. And?
So what is the problem in terms of progression? I think that's fine. I don't see the problem there. You go and grind some dungeons, get base loot, and then you go raid, right? And
sure,
you're gonna be
trash.
Kind of decently geared for raid.
It's complete trash.
Why not? I don't feel that 6 levels of item level is gonna make a huge difference, and then you will probably have 2 or 3 pieces in the level.
Like think about it. The smaller the numbers are, the more each number means.
Well, you're right in that regard. Yeah.
If the difference is between 470 and 475, that doesn't huge. Sound like much.
Yeah. We haven't seen. If the difference
is between 100 and 105, or 50 and 55.
Yeah.
It feels like more.
Then I will tell you, in this moment, we don't know for sure because we don't have the final numbers.
These are the final numbers.
What?
These are the final numbers.
No. I mean the final numbers on the stats in gear. To know how much the level difference is gonna matter. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Yeah. So we don't have those numbers, especially with the scaling thing that now they put, which put more mats in that kind of stuff.
Think about it this way. So think about it this way. The jump between end of dungeon and weekly reward, it's 16 levels.
Yes, around that.
13.
Between 13 and 16, around 13.
That. Okay.
Yeah,
let's say it's 13.
Yeah.
To keep it simple there in our head. Let's say it's 13.
Yeah.
In that sense, if the difference item load, and that's basically telling you that a week of work is worth 13 item loads, more
or less.
So now this, basically, the contention point is again the difference between 210 and 213. This 3 item load is basically is setting you back like a fourth of the whole effort.
Yeah.
It's telling you 25% of the weekly effort, you're losing that efficiency.
All right. But how important is gearing through Mythic Plus?
That's the point. That is going to be even less important. Right now, it is important. It is the most efficient way to do it.
To gear, to get a base gearing for the rest of the activities, yes.
This is, and what a lot of people feel like this is, the message that this is sending, is that Mythic Plus is way less important. That it's less valuable than rating.
Correct. Is that good or bad? You feel that it's bad?
I think that's our thing, because it's one of the, in my opinion, most successful pieces of content in the game.
Mythic Plus. All right.
You may disagree with this because, for if you're like a raider only player, then you say raid is the last thing and that's the only thing that matters.
Yeah.
And that's
and it's the hardest
valid
content.
Way of feeling.
Technically, it's the quote unquote hardest content of the game, or whatever this argument that you want to say, right?
No, or if you're a PvP player, for you, the pinnacle of gameplay is PvP.
Yeah,
it's kind of, and the thing is that WoW has made a lot of effort into, and failed at times of saying both raiding and PvP are important.
Yeah,
and both of them are equally important to us.
Yeah.
And how this feels for portion of the community that enjoys Mythic Plus a lot is basically telling you, but Mythic Plus is just not as important.
Yeah.
Because that's what that difference feels like.
Yeah.
Like for example, it may not have any effect on the gameplay. It may slow the gearing up process a couple of weeks. You're gonna forget about that in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But it still feels like the message is the hardest content that you can, or doing a plus 15, which is the highest reward that you can get doing Mythic Plus, that is less valuable than heroic rating.
Correct. Yeah, that's the message they're sending. So we want you to play.
Is the method that it feels, and that feels bad. That's my point. Yeah. I'm not even discussing about is this better or worse for the game overall. It may be better. The whole great, how the whole Great Vault is going to interact with all these systems, is kind of a big unknown for us.
Correct. Yeah.
We hope that the Great Vault is going to work miracles and it's going to be amazing. It's going to feel really rewarding. It could be a case. It could not be the case. Everyone says that it is really nice.
Yeah, the people in the beta say that it's really
we haven't played with it, so I cannot tell you. My only point of contention is that the message that this is sending, a big portion of the Mythic Plus community is, you know what? The hardest reward that you can get out of the piece of content that you enjoy the most, it is less than heroic rating.
Fair enough.
And that feels bad. And that's how you're gonna feel when you're completing it. Because you're putting 40 minutes of your life into this piece of content.
Yeah.
And then you get 210. And basically what this is telling you, it's okay, now I have to go and raid because that is gonna be more efficient way
to get loot
of getting loot on the moment. Because also this is about like the moment-to-moment reward of the game.
Correct. Yeah.
Because the Great Ball, the weekly rewards, that's kind of a medium-term kind of reward. Like it's a thing that you keep in your head, but it doesn't feel rewarding at the moment. We have talked about this before.
Yes, correct.
How you may get something amazing on the chest and it feels amazing, but it feels less amazing sometimes than getting something at the moment that it's the shit.
Yeah.
So for example, you get in your helm from Heroic Nasat.
Yeah.
Or like relief, like finally, I got it. It's amazing. I'm done.
Yeah.
You got the feeling. You texted like it was so good that you texted me about it.
Yes. yes. Yeah.
And you will never get that feeling with a weekly reward.
With a weekly reward.
Yeah, because the weekly reward
it will be weird. Like I don't think it will be the same feeling. It will be weird because it will be that's the piece that I needed to finish. All right, good, and finish. And it's just
but it's also it is removed from the content.
Yeah, exactly. It is removed from.
We just killed Nasot.
Yeah, we just spent
we did it.
half an hour, like 40 minutes doing the thing, and then I get my reward for my 40 minutes. This feels more like I did my work in the week, so I will get my paycheck. And paychecks are good, but are not that exciting.
Paychecks are good, but sometimes getting that impulse to go to McDonald's and get fries is more exciting.
Yes.
And that is for me a contention in the community.
Now I get what is
it may not be worded this way for most people.
Yeah, it removes exciting.
A lot of people are.
It removes excitement from the system.
And I know what you're talking about, that it's probably not going to have a lot of effect on gearing up and stuff.
Yes.
Because Radnuts made an amazing video on that.
Yes.
Where he basically explains in a lot of detail why he thinks everything is going to be fine at the end, and it kind of doesn't matter really.
Yeah. I saw the one done by Preacher, so yeah. Kind of the same conclusion.
Radnus is the best WoW content creator. Fight me.
Fair enough. We see a lot of content, so but the conclusion is the same. I think the conclusion overall is the same, right?
Yeah, but that conclusion comes from a rationalization of the thing.
Yeah,
which I don't disagree with.
Which I just did, right? That's how my argument started. Like, I don't see what is the problem at the end. We're gonna be fine, but I see your big problem that is removing excitement from the Mythic Plus.
Yeah,
and I think that is absolutely bad. I agree with you. That is not only that,
but it's also this message, which is I've been reading through the forums about people discussing on this. Yeah. They don't put it this way, but definitely a feeling that you get at least from a portion of the Mythic Plus community is that they're feeling like betrayed by the game.
Hurt, of course.
Because it's just the raw message. Like you look at these numbers the first time, and the raw visceral message that you get is, my content is less important than writing.
Yeah, that is sad. I can now get progression too, and yes. And that comes accompanied by what a lot of content creators has been saying about this expansion in Blizzard, about this expansion in World of Warcraft, that we came from Blizzard telling us in Legion, play however you want, you will get rewarded. And now they're kind of, with all these changes, they're kind of saying, play how we say you to play. That is, priority is rating, and then after that Mythic, and then after that PvP.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the one of the problems that the community has with specifically these changes, that they feel that being forced to play certain content, or they won't get good progression. Or well rewarded, right? And on the Blizzard side, their idea is that the Vault is gonna be the salvation for this, but
it could be.
It is a good system. Like, don't get me wrong. For what I've seen, it is definitely a good reward system. The chests that we have right now, BFA, are awful all the time. So it's definitely an improvement in that sense. But definitely the effect that removing excitement from the
moment to moment.
End of activity rewards is always bad. Yep. Like you always want to make the player feel that whatever he does in your game is being rewarded, and that's the other part of this argument, that where is that reward going and how it feels into the player and how it makes the player feel. And a lot of these decisions that I've seen the Blizzard team take, I got the distinct feeling that they don't account for that.
I will agree with that. They seem to, a lot of the decisions seem to be decisions based on numbers.
Yes.
And don't get me wrong, I approve, I think that's a good thing.
Yes, but not all the time.
No, I mean, it is good to have the numbers present all the time. That's not a thing ever. Like, you should have the facts.
The proper data.
Your base is like no one knows the facts better than Blizzard, because they have all the data on their game.
Correct. So
but we cannot discuss that. I have no doubt that they think all these changes are good based on the data they have.
Yeah.
It's just that sometimes you need to take human emotion a little bit more into account, because this is just a video game. It's not as much as I love spreadsheets.
It's not an accounting software. It's not an accounting simulator.
and this is the type of change. Do you remember when we talked about about removing weapons from the raid rewards and changing them for tokens?
Yes, correct, yeah.
And we have the same discussion of, but you're kind of taking it away from the moment to moment satisfaction of it. Then you get the weapon.
Yeah.
It is removing it to this token system. So, oh, it's maybe 20 minutes later, I'm gonna go to a vendor and get my weapon.
Yeah.
It is in the same vein of.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe intentions are good, and let me emphasize this. I think the Great Ball is a great change.
Yeah.
But I think they're putting too much emphasis on this weekly cycle, and we may be losing something of the moment-to-moment significance.
Yeah.
Which is what a lot of times keeps a good portion of the people involved. Like, just the fact that you're getting excited moment to moment, and you need to balance both.
Yes, correct. And I think there's definitely better ways to do these kind of changes. And I'm referring to the discussion that we have about the weapons. And if you want to guarantee some stuff to the players and reduce RNG, I think there's better ways to do it that just give them currency or do these kind of reductions. And one of the great ways that they did it was through the Vault, but that's not the end all be all. That's not the only answer to that question, right? Because my example, I remember my example is, if you have some systems where you, for certain difficult activities, you get certain guarantee loot to reduce RNG, that is good in some instances, but not all the time. And we did have a lengthy discussion about this when we discussed one of the itemization systems in one of the past episodes, right? When we were talking about how to reduce RNG and how to manage the itemization systems and that sort of stuff. And there's a lot of different answers for this. Materials, like in Monster Hunter World, to feed your system. and then that's a guaranteed low RNG system. And then the RNG is in other place of the power scale, or special quests with difficulties and guaranteed drops from certain mobs that later become into something, into some materials to do something else for the next point of the power scale. You have a lot of different answers to these kind of problems, and I feel like they're always taking the easiest or simplest solution. Like we have, and you can go through the past episodes, but we have been very accurate on saying like, yeah, the simple solution is a weekly throttle. Talking about the weekly advances in the renown and that sort of stuff, and the changes with the covenants and that we discussed. And we specifically said in that episode that the easiest solution was just put in a timer on it. And you say, yeah, but that's super boring. And I hope they don't do it. Right?
You mean for the conduit thing?
Yes. Yep. And you say specifically, yes, but is a good solution, but it's super boring. I hope they don't do it. And they just did it because it was the simplest solution.
It is a functional solution.
Yeah, and I feel that's exactly what they're doing here, and exactly what they're doing with the token rewards with the weapons. They have a problem. There is a lot of more interesting ways to do it, and they take in the easy solution. Just give you currency. Just lower this system, this number system. So you have your priorities where they are, where they're supposed to be, right? And we will guarantee you stuff.
In principle, I don't have a problem with any of these changes.
Yes, that's the thing, right? That is
just the message is the only thing that is the message that is sending the community is the only thing that is rowing me the wrong way.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah.
I do these item level changes. What do I think? I think it's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
I think it's really not gonna matter. Progression is gonna be fine.
Yeah.
And the top rating people are gonna do whatever they are required to.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Yes.
So that they kind of don't matter in that sense. They will do whatever is the most efficient thing, whatever that is.
Yeah, whatever that. Yeah. There is no argument in that.
And I think these changes are gonna work at the end of the day, probably.
Yeah.
Because, for example, one good thing about this is that it makes heroic rating more relevant in the grand scheme of things.
Correct.
Because now, before, at least in BFA right now, it could be that you gear through dungeons, and if you're good enough, you can just jump straight to mythic rating,
and you will be fine. Yeah,
you will be fine.
Yeah.
Now this is also telling you that this is giving more relevance to heroic rating, which, for example, for our guild is a good thing because we are a heroic rating.
Yeah.
And this
is for us in our day to day. Yeah, it's gonna be feel bad for when we invest more time in the mythic pushing thing, but by that point when we are actually thinking about mythic in terms of pushing it, we don't care about the loot that drops at the end.
Yeah,
right. That's the difference. But so overall for us, in the way we interact with the raid is not gonna be bad. But for the feeling of going and do the thing, it's gonna feel bad.
Yeah. You know what other thing? What other effect this is probably gonna have that some people may not have been talking too much about, and it's about how much harder is it gonna be to get into heroic box
for
if
raiding?
You haven't done heroic before? Yeah, for raiding.
Jesus. Well, I don't know, man. What is the effect? Let me think.
Because think about it,
100%. Like 100%.
The heroic item level is gonna be 213.
Yeah.
So usually people for heroic, like for the runs that go well, people usually ask for around the same item level
that it drops inside the thing. Yeah,
that it drops, because what you expect in the pucks is to go relatively easy, and you just expect people to know the fights, which means that they already have done heroic.
Yes, correct.
Like, there is no progression in pugging. Let's be clear about that.
Yeah, well, one thing clear is there is no pugging. Is generally I want to target. I didn't do, like, what is the context? The context is I'm doing normal progression with my raid and I want to upgrade in heroic because I'm mostly all done with that level, right? And so you go pugging for certain bosses that give you a baseline to be better and help the raid progress more faster to normal, and then you get to heroic and the same thing, right? That's the mentality of when you go and pug.
Yeah, and what I fear is going to happen is that, okay, we have all these pugging groups that are probably going to be requiring 213 or something.
Yeah.
And let's say you have never done heroic before. The best thing that you can get at that point, except from the couple of weekly rewards that you have gotten, is just 2 10s.
That's not gonna get you there, basically.
That's not gonna get you there, and that means what that effectively means is that it's gonna take you a longer time.
Yeah.
To get to a desirable, quote unquote, item level for the pugging group.
Correct.
But that is wasted time in the example that you gave, because the whole point of pugging outside of our raid nights is to get better gear for us so that we can help the progression faster.
Correct.
So it is in that pugging kind of realm that it can be hurtful.
It's gonna be super slow down. I think that's the thing, because you're gonna depend 100% from your vault, and that means that to get to that point, that means that you have to do as many activities as you possibly can do. Yeah. So you have, I think if you want to crunch some numbers and be as efficient to get to that point, you probably have to do your 10 dungeons and then do whatever rating is required to open the other rewards.
Yeah.
Right? And so you have 6 options. And now the good thing is, like, they improved the system, and now they say that it's not going to be duplicate
it was not an improvement. It was a bug. It was never supposed to duplicate items. That was a bug in the code.
Yeah. And now you have those 6 options to try to get to that point. But weekly, it means that how long is going to take you to get there? It could be easily 2 or 3 months of the expansion till you get to the point when you are able to pug safely.
Yeah. Or consistently at least.
Consistently at least, yeah.
And that is going to be probably a bigger problem for people like us who play alt.
Yeah.
But not everyone in the guild play alt, so we don't have that many. We do have like all raiding runs.
Yeah.
But they're not as common.
Correct.
So I feel like pugging, this is making pugging, it's gonna make it a little bit harder to get
a little bit harder to get there. Yeah, because I imagine, what is the system that if you want to level up, if you want to keep gearing an alt, it's supposed to be easier.
It is,
but it's gonna take longer. I think that's the thing, right?
With the alts are not gonna be easier to gear up.
Yeah,
it's easier to catch up with the general systems of the expansion.
Correct.
So it like the expansion is designed to allow you to catch up fast with the Covenant and the Renown and the Conduit.
But then if you think about
not gearing up, because gearing up is slow down for all turns, for mains and up.
If you think about it and you want to keep 2 characters kind of in the same level, you'll be thinking about doing 20 mythic pluses in the week, plus trying to do LFR or normal rating with your alt. And that's a lot of time invested.
It is a lot of time, but like for an alt, I mean, it's also like the closer, like once you're quote unquote done with your main, you can put a little bit more time in your alt. It's kind of this balancing act.
But still.
Yeah, but I'm just saying pugging can get really, really hard.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, what are we gonna do?
Yes.
And like the thing is, there is no easy fix to this. It's like, all right, we increase the item level, then we are in the same BFA situation that they want to avoid.
There is no easy fix.
Yeah.
But part of me also believes that there is no fix. Because this is a struggle between moment-to-moment rewards and like big weekly goals. It's a balance that I don't think many games have ever got 100% right.
Correct. Yeah, that's the other side of it.
And like to be fair, like I like a lot the WoW approach.
Yeah.
Like for as flawed as it is, I enjoy it a lot. But I think that balance is really, really hard.
Okay. Moving on.
Greener pastures.
After talking about numbers for an hour.
Isn't that why we're here?
Yeah. So, rating without sound. A death-friendly rating guild. You want to talk about accessibility in games in general, bringing this to the table, right, my friend? And
I thought.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And I think it's super interesting because we do have a friend in the rating which is colorblind, and he's been suffering in Nyalota.
in this specific there, because everything is freaking blue and purple.
Yeah, I don't know how he does it. I've seen emulation of colorblind stuff, and Jesus, man, I don't know how. I don't know how he still do it with success.
You learn. It's a lot of learning.
Yeah. So.
But basically.
Yeah.
Like I found this interesting because, like, for example, we use DVM and GTFO for rating.
Correct.
Which are both, especially GTFO is a very sound heavy add-on for the game. Correct. That basically yells at you when you need to move out of stuff.
Yeah. It's a big alarm.
Yeah. And also DVM has sounds for the counters and for abilities and for stuff. And the bosses themselves, they do have dialogue that announces abilities, like annihilation.
Yeah.
So sound is a huge input for rating and for the abilities and for the mechanics of the fight.
Correct.
So I find it super interesting that this is a deaf-friendly rating guild.
Yeah.
And basically it is an interview on Wowhead for some of the members of the guild, and they talk about how do they do it and what challenges do they have or encounter through the writing process, and how do they overcome those limitations or challenges.
Yeah.
And basically they were saying like they rely a lot on WeChorus.
Correct, yeah, which is a very insane add-on.
It is super performant.
Yeah.
WeChorus, macros that say things.
Alright, yeah.
Because you can macro just jails and stuff like that.
Yep.
And announcements. That, and the interesting thing is that I saw them. They use Zoom for DSL, for ASL.
Yeah.
So they have a video here, and they show them. I think they're doing a dungeon, and they all of them are in a Zoom call.
Yeah.
And they use ASL to communicate. You know what ASL is?
No, I don't know what ASL is, please.
American Sign Language.
Yeah, American Sign Language. Yeah.
So you see them like in the little corner of the stream, like in the Zoom call, all doing sign language and communicating that way.
Yes, you see it. Oh, crazy. Yeah, all the communication that we have, you take things for granted. All the communication. How much do we rely on poor Seal to do a lot of things in the rain? Of him making call-outs.
Verbally communicating things.
Yeah.
So this was... I mean, it is not eye-opening, but it's like a reminder of one, how fortunate we are, and how creative people get to solve these problems.
Yeah.
Because the whole Zoom with sign language thing, it's an interesting solution to some of the problems.
Correct, yeah.
And for example, they were saying that usually, or if possible, the pair of tanks for raid, they are together in the same room.
Just in case, yes.
Not just in case, but because if the tanks are together in the same room, they can communicate between themselves.
Yeah, correct.
Again, using ASL or something like that.
Yeah.
And for example, tank communication in some of the fights, it's so critical.
Absolutely, yeah. To pass the... For all the effects, to pass aggro, to move the stuff, yeah. It's not only about the stacks and that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So it is. It's amazing, and I thought it was really, really amazing. And at some point, even with all those things, basically they rely, like at the end of the day, with people just knowing what to do.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah, of course.
You just have to trust the people. Like you practice it and practice it and practice it until you reach the point where you are just doing it.
Yeah, you just need little
everyone is doing their part flawlessly, which I think is so fucking amazing.
Insane.
It's so amazing, dude. Like, imagine if we were to do one of the Nihilota fights without talking.
Jesus, man.
Without communicating.
Any of the fights. Yeah. Yeah, like even the simplest one, which is Skitra. You still need to communicate for the clouded and thingy. You still need to say, oh, I have the thing, and then what do you see?
Yeah. So I found that super amazing that because I don't think we could with all the advantages we still
be super hard. You will have to know the fights perfectly.
Yeah. No, everyone be aware of all the mechanics.
Yeah.
All the things that happen for all the roles and
man, it just made me feel so lazy when I go raiding.
Yeah, especially you, but
yeah. Oh my god, this is amazing.
It is amazing.
I'm really happy that World of Warcraft as a game has the flexibility to allow this kind of stuff. Because World of Warcraft, they try more and more often. They try to put accessibility in games. You have always a colorblind mode in the majority of the games of this style.
Yeah.
And you always have subtitles and things that help. But the fact that World of Warcraft is open to all these sort of modification through mods gives them a lot of advantage to fix all these problems.
That was kind of my point. I think that is an amazing thing that you can have, that basically a modding community comes through.
Yeah, correct.
And provides the tools.
Yes.
But shouldn't some of these tools fall on the shoulders of Blizzard?
Of the developers?
Yeah, because basically what you're saying is, I'm not saying agree or disagree with you, but I feel like what you're saying is that developers are saying, we give you the tools and you players go do whatever you want to.
Yeah, but no, yeah.
Which is an approach, but I don't know, sometimes in terms of, because just the fact that someone has to program a Wikora or program a mod
to
make it more accessible for certain groups of people.
Yeah.
It means that the base game on itself is not that friendly.
Yeah. Well, what I will say is now it's been an evolution of accessibility to games, right? Now more than ever, the developers have been more preoccupied on put accessibility tools inside their games, to the point that it's almost always expected that a game have all subtitles, like closed caption for everything, and color blind mode, right? But it's not been the case always, right? In the past, these things were looked out, and if you go and look all games, 80% of them don't have any of this kind of accessibility. And my point is, for WoW to be such an old game and have the opportunity to catch up with that, even if it's through mods, but again, the developers add the colorblind accessibility things, and eventually they did all the complete closed captions and that sort of stuff. How much it is relevant for new games to have that kind of accessibility beyond the baseline? It is more on the decision of the producer. How much resources do you put on a game for this service? I feel that right now the philosophy is, if it's a big multiplayer or MMO-like game, it is highly important that you have accessibility to reach a wider audience or give options, and that not only is in the tools that the developer comes, but in the actual flexibility for mods. It's part in part. Of course, in some multiplayer games, that flexibility cannot be that high because of cheating restrictions and custom code modifications. But I think right now, in terms of philosophies in developer games, we are in a very good point where accessibility to these kind of things are always guaranteed. Of course, it's not perfect unless your intention as a developer is reach that audience specifically. But I think overall we're fine in that field.
I wouldn't dare to say that, dude.
I think we're fine. Like, it could be better, of course.
No, but you know why I wouldn't dare to say that? Because we don't have those limitations. We're like, first of all, we're not in a position to.
Yeah, of course. Yes.
To I know say if it is enough or not.
Yeah. I could be biased because exactly what you said, but I don't know realistically how much should a producer invest in that side of the.
I don't know either. All I'm saying is, okay, we're not in the position, first of all, to say if it is enough or not.
Yeah, correct. Yeah,
because we don't have.
I think more than I'm saying, like, we are better than we were before. That doesn't mean that we are good.
We're better than we were before, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I don't think it's enough.
Fair enough. Yes.
And I don't think, like, especially if the game relies that heavily, like, on community-driven initiatives, like modding, which sure, it's amazing that the modding tools exist, but if it still relies that heavily on modding tools and the community efforts, then maybe they could do it. And also, the way that I think about it is, a lot of times the mods are not developed by like a single person. Yeah, and they're just maintained by one person who does the thing because they think it's cool.
Yeah.
So if one person can do it and maintain it, maybe a little bit more of the development effort could go into that.
Yes, but Yeah, but I don't know how much will be reasonable for these projects.
I would argue that a little bit more. But like, especially for games that, like, sure, like if you're an indie company, they have a lot of limitations.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of budgeting that goes around, and you may be really a real small team.
Yeah.
But if you're Blizzard Entertainment,
yeah, you should put like a lot more tools. Yeah.
if you're the big hitters in the industry,
yeah, you should give
the ones pushing.
Absolutely.
Towards improvement. Like, sure, like, am I gonna ask David Bruick, who is a guy making a game on its own, basically?
Yeah.
To do it? I mean, there are so many hours in the day.
Correct.
but we're talking about. I mean, we're talking about WoW, but in general, this conversation in my head is relevant for the big hitters in the industry.
Yeah.
For the ones that make the AAA games.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I think I'm with you. Definitely. Always more is always better.
And not only that, but like, for example, with our guild friend, who's colorblind. Like, even though the game has colorblind modes, he says that it's not enough.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, it's not all because the color palette of the specific
it's awful. Yeah.
The specific raid is awful for him.
Yeah.
Like, for his specific experience.
Yeah.
But the tool is there. You maybe should invest a little bit and improve the tool.
Absolutely. I in agreement with you. Yeah.
Because we all ask it, and it was like, whenever this comes into conversation in our guild, it's like, but isn't there a colorblind mode?
Yeah.
And he says, yes, but it doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
And I mean, there may not be a lot of people in that situation, but there are people in that situation for whom it probably feels
not enough. Yeah.
Maybe that it's not enough, is not as friendly.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, I'm just speculating, but I'm just speculating based on the interaction that we have had with it before.
Fair enough. And I would say yes, definitely. We encourage to all the developers to invest more in this kind of solutions, in this side of the development, because it makes your game so much better for so many people, so much more people.
Yeah, that's what I thought. This interview was amazing, because it just shows that once that people are way better players than us.
Yep.
100% sure that they are better players than me.
Absolutely, yes.
Than us, who rely heavily on sales callouts during raid night.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And I don't know. I just thought it was a wholesome interview.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think this is fantastic, and we say to the developers, please invest more. I know that we are better than before, but we can always be better and give these people a home in gaming.
Just try to make the hoops that people have to jump a little bit less and a little bit smaller.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was just eye-opening for me reading this, because they brought to light things that I never thought about.
Correct, yeah.
And for example, I wonder how much do they think of these things when they're designing fights?
You should. Like, at least you should think about it.
I know, and I wonder how much they do. Like,
yeah, no idea. But how much the system interacts with that sort of stuff, you should think about it. Not only because of this case, but for easy read, etc. But
no, of course, but like to make the mechanics It is just hard because also you don't want to telegraph everything.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it is a challenging problem for the person or for the people who assign all these fights and stuff.
Absolutely. Well, that was nice.
It's awesome. Wholesome topic for the week. We need that.
Yeah, we need that. Now, in that note of wholesomeness, we move to our last topic, which is, was it 8.3 good? Was it the last patch in World of Warcraft good? I don't know. I think it was nice.
You'll have to elaborate on that. So this is,
corruption was okay.
Full disclosure, this is a topic based on an article by Dratnos on Wowhead about 8.3 and corruption. Yes. Just so people are aware of what are we talking about and why are we talking about this.
Yeah.
So now, give me your thoughts on 8.3 and corruption.
So absolutely, the patch as a whole was a little bit weak in terms of how much content did it bring to the game. We were hoping for an extra dungeon, for a little bit more story heading into Nyalota. I think the visions were the vision system was fantastic. I really like the vision system, and the mini challenge that it brought into the patch and different problems that you have to solve in that system. The raid was nice, but I kind of have not a lot of comparison to do from it.
You'll have expansion.
Yeah, I've done Nyalota more than anything else. I've done a little bit of Eternal Palace, and I did a raid in 14, but it was a pre-made, so I don't know. I have no good point of comparison in that sense.
No. You have done raids in Destiny.
I've done raids in Destiny, but they're so different. Yeah, the raids in Destiny, well, they're so different that it's hard for me to compare them.
I know.
But I think for the most part, all the fights in the raid are engaging and interesting, to put it in some shape, way, or form. And yeah, I think for me the patch was fine. I can imagine if I was up to the day before the patch came out, I think I would be done with the patch a lot more sooner. That I was with it because I came into the patch a little bit behind in Essence acquisition and other systems, right? In the side of corruption, I think there were interesting power boosts, especially the ones with the tentacle thingies and the stars and the more flashy one. And yeah, the randomness was terrible because you get a random piece of corruption. It was interesting, but with all the caps of getting corrupted and that sort of stuff, was it worth it or not? Is it better to cleanse it or not? What was the balance there? And for me, at least personally, I never used corruption beyond the eye of the thing in terms of punishment, because my class doesn't have a good way to deal with the other effects.
But this thing that you're describing,
yeah,
I think that's positive.
Yes.
You're making it sound like it's a bad thing.
All right. No. Okay. So yeah, this is the things that I like. I really did like the corruption idea. Some of the corruption effects were very cool to see and do an experiment with, and the decision points of keeping or not certain types of corruptions in your gear was interesting, right?
Yeah, I agree. That was for me personally, that was probably a highlight of the patch, was Okay, let's be clear. I like randomness more than
the usual.
Your other show, probably.
Yeah.
But the whole making the decision in between, should I cleanse? Which corruption should I use?
Yeah.
I have the restriction of how many corruption do I want to deal with. So I have these restrictions, I have these options. Where should I put it? What's going to give me the best results? I think that's a really interesting problem to think about.
Yeah, correct.
And that's something I enjoyed a lot thinking with.
Yeah. So what do you think about when they became purchasable?
I think pre-vendor, the corruptions were too random, and you won't get them. You were not getting them consistently enough to make the system viable.
Yeah.
That was a huge problem before vendor.
Correct.
Because for as much as we say that BFA throws year at you,
it's not enough to compensate for those. Yeah.
It's not enough to compensate for that level of random.
Yeah.
You have like a couple or like a dozen corruption effects, and they can corrupt on a couple of pieces, and they could or could not corrupt depending on the content that you were doing.
Yeah.
So it was too much randomness for the level of loot that the game gives you.
Yeah.
Post-vendor, that's another tale. Because post-vendor gives you control over that random. So in the sense that if you didn't get if you got a good item but it was not corrupted, it was not immediate trash.
Yeah.
It just gave you a goal. Like, okay, I'm gonna keep this item in my bag, and now my goal is to farm currency to buy the corruption that I want.
Correct. Which is cool. Which is
which is super cool because it took trash item and made it a goal.
Yeah,
which is a huge difference in my head.
Yeah, correct. That we agree with the sentiment of the community that corruption shouldn't matter that much in terms of raw stats, because that's what I end up happening after they nerf a lot of the crazy other side of the corruption. It was a problem of system balance, as it usually is.
Yeah, I've seen two different camps with this.
Yeah.
I've seen the camp they're in, personally.
Yeah.
Is that I was sad because the best corruptions for my spec were not the flashy corruptions.
Yeah.
We're just borrowing stat increments.
Correct, yeah.
And I would have liked to use the fancy ones. The toilet devastation, the mind place.
The
infinite thirst. That is one group of the argument. The other one is that using the flashy ones feels bad because they're just random procs and you basically have no control of your DPS throughput.
Yeah, fair enough, yeah.
Like when it procs, but that's completely out of your control.
Yeah.
And for example, that happened, I was running Infinite Stars way at the beginning of the patch.
Yeah.
I think I one-shotted myself a couple of times on Moth.
Yeah, I remember
because
this.
Because Infinite Stars procced during the
I remember. Oh, I died. But why? It just Infinite Stars killed me. Yeah, I remember this.
So, and mind me, I don't mind the randomness in the DPS throughput that much.
Yeah.
But for a portion of the community, it was like that was completely unbearable, that they had no control whatsoever of the procs.
Yeah.
I fall into a camp that I don't mind the randomness that much. So I didn't mind that at all. It was just that, like, I didn't thought of my DPS, for example, in terms of, it's Infinite Stars doing all the job for me. It was like, no, if it procs, it procs and it feels good. If it doesn't, I'm still doing my rotation.
Your damage, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think that it's weird because for us, that thing is where the corruption system was interesting. Right? When it became one more thing to sim for, it wasn't that interesting.
Yeah.
right? And like for me as a warrior, I end up heavily in that camp. It's just, all right, this is just gonna give me more crit, which I'm already looking for in the rest of things that I'm doing. So for me in that camp, it was like, okay, I'll get is one more progression avenue to go to, but it wasn't that exciting. It was more exciting when they were giving me random effects and I had not control, so I just carry whatever corruption I had to help me doing damage and keep me under that 39 points of corruption threshold. That was more interesting, at least for me.
It is two competing ideas of. That's why I think these things are impossible to lose, because we have two competing ideas here that are completely valid. Like, one of them is like, okay, I don't care. I'll just pre-render. I'll just get what I get.
Yeah.
And I'll use it and I'll have fun with it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And that was fun.
Yeah.
But there's the other idea that when you have control over the corruption, the fun is shifted from the moment-to-moment play
to progression,
to the planning, to a theory crafting part.
Yeah.
And both are fun for me, for example.
Yeah.
Do I prefer one of those? I do prefer the theory crafting part. I find that way more entertaining.
Yeah.
But it's like you have these two complete ideas that, at least in the corruption system, look to be opposed to one another.
Yes.
Because one of them relies on just the pure randomness and fun of the randomness.
Yeah.
And the other one relies on just having full control and being able to take decisions over the corruption itself.
Yeah.
So it's that's the kind of thing that makes these systems kind of, are you going to balance it? I don't think you can balance those two.
No.
Those two ideas. There is just no middle ground in between those.
Correct.
I mean, there is a middle ground, which is what they did, which is we're just not going to sell you all the corruptions. We're going to put it on a rotation.
Yeah. But still, I don't know. The excitement shifted for me. Yeah,
that's exactly what I'm saying. That the fun part of the corruption changed from, is Twilight Devastation gonna proc? Oh, it proc. That was fun. It felt good.
Oh look, I'm doing damage. Blah blah blah. Oh look, there is tendrils going around. They help me in this. Oh, that's nice.
It shifted from that to the less flashy discussion of what do I do with my corruption points? Where do I put them?
Yeah.
And it appeals to different type of players. Like if you're a theory crafter at heart and you enjoy theory crafting, you like the
apparently Seal did like a lot the corruption system with the mastery stuff that he was doing.
I mean, I like it a lot as well. It's just that it was boring that I couldn't that if I wanted to be efficient, I didn't get to use the flashy one.
Correct. Yeah, that's the thing. That's a balance problem. And again,
but I like it. I like the corruption part.
Yeah. I like we like the system in that sense, but balancing was nigh to impossible for what it was.
I think corruption was doomed to be unbalanced.
Yeah, definitely. So overall, how do you feel about the patch? Was it good? If you have to give it a rating from 1 to 10.
The patch?
Yeah. How many bananas would you give him?
I'll probably give it an 8.
An 8?
Yeah.
I still feel that I don't have references because I did play in the patch before, but I did not engage in any end level content. So technically, this is being the only patch that I play seriously in World of Warcraft. So,
let me explain my rating.
All right.
Because it comes from how much did I engage with the systems in the patch?
Yeah.
How much did I engage with the content?
All right. Yeah.
And how much I enjoy that engagement.
Okay.
Because what was the content of the patch? The content was basically the rate
visions and the corrupting system
/ corruption thing.
System, yeah.
That's the content that the patch brought to the table.
Correct.
In terms of the raid, I really like this raid. I really like the fights. They're super fun.
Did you did a lot of
I did Eternal Palace before. Yeah, I did the whole.
Okay. I found the. I don't know, maybe it's because I didn't do it that much, but I found the final fight in the Eternal Palace super confusing.
Ashara is a super confusing, super mechanics heavy fight.
Yeah.
The problem is that when you did it, it was kind of on easy mode farm.
It's still weird.
Ignore a lot of mechanics.
It was still weird.
It's a weird fight. It has a lot of phases and then adds in the middle, and you have to see things and get a line of sight. It is a confusing fight.
And like Nasod it is a weird fight. But it's easier to, I don't know. I feel like Nasod was so much easier to understand.
That's probably just because we did Nasod on progression.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
While the fact that you didn't do on progression, that are kind of just, you kind of ignore some of the mechanics, they look more confusing to you.
Yeah, that's probably part of it.
Yeah.
Probably part of it, but...
I like the raid a lot. I like the themes of the raid. There are some fights that I really, really like. I really like Raden, for example.
Yeah.
I think that fight is interesting with its both different sets of mechanics and that one requires a lot of coordination. I like that.
Funnily enough, my favorite fights are Vexiona and Il'gyanath.
My favorite fights are probably Nasod and Raden.
All right, fair enough. Yeah.
I know that Nasod is not the most interesting and like complex fight.
Yeah.
But I don't know. In Heroic it's just. I like the feeling, I like the raid splitting thing, and that you have to, like, there is nothing, you have to rely
on the other group doing it right.
On the other half of the team.
Yeah.
I like that a lot because
and you have no input over it. You just do your job and pray for them to do theirs.
It's really blind. Yeah, it's like, guys, it's like that moment that you pass the torch. Like,
yeah,
it is on you now.
It is it. Oh yeah, I get
I don't know why I like that moment a lot. It's just go do your best.
Yeah.
Godspeed, my friends. As they go and do their thing.
Yeah. Because the part the thing that you do in the like the thing while they're killing the mini boss, what you do on top is not that relevant. Just hit the tentacles and keep the thing.
Keep the damage to the red damage to minimum. That's all you do.
It's like okay, super simple.
I don't know. It's just that concept.
And you hear the comms.
Don't.
You hear the comms. Oh, move, blah blah blah. Okay, we're moving. Okay, blah blah blah. Dropping. And you're like, ah!
and that moment when you like, you know, when you feel like that appear like when the third set of tentacles appear downstairs, and they haven't killed the thing, you know that we cannot do it anymore.
Yep.
And if they are close, like you killed your set of tentacles, and you know that the next one, like if the next one appears, is gonna fail, and you're kind of saying, oof, and you look at the bar, it's like, they're close. Are they gonna make it? Are they make it? They made it. Go.
Yeah, fair enough.
I don't know. I like that feeling. I think that's a cool thing. It may not be the most interesting part.
I did like a lot of Il'gyanath because of the chaos of the mind control mechanic and the ads.
the mind control is super interesting.
Yeah.
My only problem, and this is the same problem, and for Il'gynoth and Vexiana for me, is that when people are lazy with the pull mechanic, which is either the pull mechanic for Vexiana or the ray thing for Il'gynoth.
Yeah.
Like, it is an easy mechanic to deal with.
Yeah.
But some people just don't pay attention and get lazy about it, and it gets out of control.
Yeah.
It's, for me, that's super frustrating. Because it's not hard. Like, it's not a hard mechanic. You don't have to run and do stuff and kill and jump hoops. You just have to move your ass to a place where the thing is going to be stacked with other stuff, so that it gives you the most space available. Yeah. And it's the same problem. It's my same problem with Vexiana. It's just an easy mechanic. Just go to the freaking wall.
Go and pull your pull. Don't separate.
Some people don't do but just the pull thing is just some people don't do it and they drop the pulls in the middle of stuff.
Yeah.
And that is so frustrating to me. Because it's like, come on, it's
easy. And the other fight that has a special part in my heart is Mod. Because
Mod is fun because it's an easy fight.
Yeah.
But you struggle so much with
I don't know. Yeah, it was ridiculous.
We struggle so much with Mod.
And that's just it, like to the point that it already become a meme for a while. The Devour Mana.
Devour Mana. Yeah, that was fun. That was a very guild specific. I don't know why did we struggle in
I don't know. We kill ourselves a bunch of time in that fight, and then we fail. For some reason, we fail. For some reason, we thought. I think it was a weird thing about mechanics and the game being the game, because we were calling Annihilation super close to it, and that was the reason why we were failing it. Do you remember when we started a fight that Seal will call it, and you will try to enter when he called 1, and you sometimes end up dead.
Yeah.
Like, there was a weird responsiveness there in that phase.
We had a portion of WAVs that were due to us not being able to pass the DPS check as a guild.
Yeah.
And that was just...
we clean ourselves because we're trying to compensate by hitting too hard the boss.
Yeah. that was fun at the beginning.
And then you being killed by corruptions randomly.
Yeah. But that's my opinion. Right, I really like the fights, and it kept us engaged till the end.
Yeah.
Like, it's been months now that I don't need anything from heroic rating, but I don't know. I'm always happy to help people get gear.
Yeah, absolutely. I think by now the majority of our rating party that usually goes to the raid has the OTC.
OTC, yeah. That was super satisfying. Getting the guild.
It was super cool. It was super, I think it was super clutch, right? That was the one that you were the last one alive.
That was a clutch kill. No, actually, when we got it, when most of us got it, it was a really clean.
It was a really clean pull, right? There was one boss that you killed by yourself in that progression.
Yeah, I killed Il'gynoth.
You killed Il'gynoth by yourself in the week that we were doing that progression. Yeah, that was super exciting.
Getting able to see with the guild was super nice.
Yeah. So,
one of the highlights of the patch.
Yeah.
And for the rest of the expansion, as I mentioned, I think I mentioned this last week.
Yeah.
I really like visions and corruptions, and the whole buying corruptions and buying sockets that kept me engaged with the vision system for a long time.
Which is so popular, the buying socket thing, that they're gonna bring it officially to Shadowlands.
It is an amazing mechanic.
Yeah.
And it gives like for the piece of content that rewards the thing, it gives a lot of longevity to that content.
Yep, correct.
In that sense, visions were suffering a little bit because it was a very repetitive content.
Yeah.
And there maybe were Torghast in Shadowlands is gonna have a huge advantage if it's more random encounters.
Correct. Yeah.
It's gonna keep it fresh for longer. So visions were suffering quite
because
a bit.
Because it was just 2 maps, and then you get used to the things.
They just got boring at the end.
Yeah. Correct.
But nonetheless, it kept me engaged till the end, buying sockets and stuff. So I enjoyed that a lot.
So final qualification for Punch 8.3 for me, that is the only patch that I really play deeply in the game. I'll probably give him 8 bananas out of 10 chocolates. It was fine. Yeah. Right? I have no point of comparison, but it kept me engaged and I enjoyed it. That's what I'm gonna say.
My only complaint is that I would have liked to get at least 2 dungeons in that Nilotta style.
Yeah.
Dungeons would have been if the patch would have come with 2 dungeons at least.
Yeah.
Would have been amazing for me.
Correct. Anyways, that's it for Deep Dive this week.
That is it.
Yeah, we pass to our audience questions and feedback. Remember, if you want to answer anything about the content that we do, about us, about the life, about the universe, we will try to answer here live and a podcast. So the first question of the week is, why is the WoW community so crazy about the game? Do you want to answer this, Lucho?
Why are they so crazy? Because they're really invested in the game.
Yeah, I think that's the simple answer. And
I think it's just that if you get into WoW, you get into WoW.
Yes. Like before WoW, I didn't consume half of the content that I consume in WoW. Like not even close. So yes.
And this quote unquote fast turnaround of content, like this 2-year cycle of new expansions, it keeps people engaged. So if you get into WoW, you really get deep down into it, and keeps you invested. And the fast-ish, for as much as people complain as slow things coming to a game,
yeah,
it is still a fast turnaround of content. So
yeah, fair enough. And yeah,
so, like often enough, there are things to come back in the game too.
Yeah, and we have a lot of content being produced by the game, like a lot.
Oh, it's just a popular game.
Yeah, and that's the other reason, right? It's a big mainstream popular game. Everybody knows what World of Warcraft is. In general,
it has a huge community of content creators and things that spice up the life of the community.
Yeah, absolutely. For putting it in nice words. And our second question of the week is, how are you guys preparing for the launch of Shadowlands?
I'm prepared.
I'm playing Final Fantasy XIV. That's the way I prepare for the launch of Shadowlands.
I'm playing Final Fantasy XIV. It is important to give WoW a break.
Yeah, we don't.
Don't get me wrong, I still play WoW aside from raiding because we're trying to get the Keystone Master thingy.
Yeah, he's still trying to get the Strain achievement thingy.
Yeah, but I don't I pretty much don't engage with the content outside raid and a couple of dungeons a week. So
yeah,
by this point I stopped doing visions and all that stuff. I'm not doing it anymore.
Yeah, same here. Like the only for me, because I fall off, to put it in words, fall off from the Mythic Plus train. And there was like some dungeons that I absolutely did not enjoy.
Yeah, there are some rough dungeons.
Yeah. So I stopped doing Mythic Plus or stopped pushing to. I sometimes offer Lucho, but he knows that by this point.
It just happens randomly, dude.
Yeah. We still do raids because our guild is fantastic. I think that's the only reason we still do raids. Yeah. I'm technically done with progression in Heroic.
Well, I mean, kind of, because we were getting the full clear and AOTC to some of our last members that could not be around the first couple of times that we got Nasot kills.
Yeah, correct.
It was not 100% progression, but it was getting some of our raid team members get AOT.
Yeah. And as I said, I am playing 14. We are trying to decompress because we played a lot of this patch, and we don't wanna be burnout for Shadowlands, because funnily enough, Shadowlands is the reason why I got into World of Warcraft. Yep. so I don't want to ruin the experience for me. So it is important. It's important for us to take a break, right?
Yeah, I'm just really in a slow mode. I just show up when people call my name.
Yeah. So that's the way
I'm
we're
not
preparing. Yeah, that's the way we're preparing. The days that I raid, I generally go and do a small gold farm. So I'm doing. I'm getting like a little bit of bank to go into expansion without being poor as I was when I started this patch. What?
That happens.
Yeah, it happens. So I'm doing a little bit, like the days that I raid, I open an hour before the game and do a shuffle run for a little bit of gold, and I'm hoarding gold for the next patch to get some resources starting. That's the only preparation that I'm doing, realistically speaking.
No, it's like WoW for us right now is really on just on low, like really low power mode.
Yeah, correct. That's our
We're
preparation.
not farming anything now. Yeah. We're just doing stuff here and there.
Yeah, that's how we are preparing.
That is not. It doesn't, like what I'm doing right now. It doesn't really. It's not tiring for me. It's just more of my routine now, especially raiding. Part of the routine.
Yeah, correct.
I like, but mainly it's just playing 14 to do something different.
Correct.
I've been playing. We are getting back into tabletop RPGs.
Yes. Hopefully. That's the other thing. But yeah, that's our preparation, and I think with that is it.
That's all for this week's episode. Once again, thanks for tuning into The Sweaty, The Farmer, and The Game Design. My name is Lucho, and you can find me on Twitter at LuisGPolanco.
And I am The Lone Name Gamer. You can find me on Twitter at The Lone Name Gamer, and on Twitch on twitch.tv/LoneNameGamerTV, where I stream Mondays to Fridays. Don't forget to share, like, subscribe, give us comments, give us some love, give us ideas for podcast if you want to, give us some feedback if you don't like some certain stuff of the show. We deeply appreciate it. Don't forget to post it everywhere. That helps us a lot. Leave a comment, leave a like if you're watching us on YouTube. And if you are hearing us in other platforms, try to share it with your friends on those platforms. Everything that you do help us to grow and reach more ears, etc. We love you all. Thank you for coming to The Sweaty, The Farmer, and The Game Design. See you next time. Bye. And did you know there is an ancient recipe using guava? Fruit is made into a paste and combined with cheese and eaten with bread. The concoction sounds awful, but it's supposedly scrumptious. It's delicious. It's not Asian. Well, they say that it's Asian, but Guavas do.
I don't like the bread part of it.
Fair enough. Guavas do take a while to grow, so don't think in a year they will be flourishing. An average guava can take between 2 and 8 years to grow fully. So my question there is, how do they keep the fruit being available?
Because we're in a tropical country.
So it does grow faster?
It doesn't grow faster. It just you plant trees at different times.
Oh yeah, so you got it all there.
Harvesting happens all the time.
Fair.
It's just rotating throughout the plantation.
Interesting.
And at one point in Philippine mythology, the guava was forbidden.
What?
This changed when a child prayed to the gods to make the inedible fruit delicious so that he could feed a beggar. And the largest guava plantation is in Brazil's São Elísio municipality.
Why was forbidden?
I don't know.
It's a
because people eat it with cheese. That was weird.
It was technically a forbidden fruit. Wow, but yeah, Philippines are just weird. So yeah, so the rotation they have to have a big plantation to have a 2-year rotation at least, right?
I mean, it is a tree, so.
So yeah, but still, like you have to have a bigger plantation for the trees too, and you have to be careful.